Kenzi Hayden ran cross-country in high school. She has since rediscovered her love of the sport. Closeted and scared, Kenzi Hayden quit running. Now out, she is reclaiming a sport she has long loved. Growing up, sports were my everything. As a kid in New Hampshire, I was fortunate that my parents signed me up for a plethora of different leagues, and I was quick to find my purpose out on the soccer field. I could always find solace in the hours spent at practice, my mind at ease after hours of cardio, shooting, and running drills with my teammates. The soccer field was a place where I could escape reality and block out the noise, a break from the voices in my head, telling me that it wasn't okay to love differently. Physically and metaphorically, I felt as if I was always running. The miles I would pound out on the track or the soccer field served as an attempt to distance myself from who I was destined to be, who I was terrified to be. I began to feel the walls that were my identity closing in on me, yet I persisted. I wanted, more than anything, to fit in, even if it meant hiding one of the most beautiful parts of myself. Part of me believed that it would fill the gaping hole in my heart, as if it would somehow compensate for the part one wasn't sure how to process. Ultimately, I turned to running as an escape, deciding to leave the world of soccer behind. From the moment I set foot on a cross-country course at 15, I knew running was home. I romanticized every little aspect of the sport, the crisp fall mornings when I'd sit to eat my oatmeal, watching the dewdrops glisten in the warm light as the sun rose over the orange-tinged trees. I loved the camaraderie and breathless laughter as I joked with my teammates through the course walk, fighting off nerves and worries about the grueling 3-1 miles that awaited us. I loved the adrenaline rush I'd feel through the first half mile, jostling for position in the sea of blue, green, red and yellow singlets. And that indescribable, out-of-body experience that was the final 200 meters, using every ounce of strength I could muster to get myself across the finish line. For the first time in my life, I had found a glimmer of the freedom I so desperately sought after. The rush of adrenaline. The runner's high. When I laced up my spikes and the starting gun sounded, nothing else mattered. Running empowered me. Running made me feel, even for a second, like I could do anything, like I could be anything. The feeling was fleeting, as the toughest mental battle I faced resumed the moment I crossed the finish line, because no matter how fast I ran, I couldn't outrun the deep-seated fear rooted in my conscience. It always followed me, chasing me mile after mile. I kept my head down, and I worked harder. To be faster. To escape. My frustration was channeled into a meticulously curated routine, plagued by an emerging eating disorder. I had become dependent on it. The relationship between my sport and my identity had begun to weigh greatly on my mental health, and something had to give. As I rounded out my senior year, the relationship between running and I continued to crumble. By the time July rolled around, I was face to face with the undeniable truth that I was no longer running for myself, but from myself. I had reached a dead end, and had nowhere left to turn. For the sake of my health, both physically and emotionally, I knew I had to let running go. It felt like the worst breakup of my life. The very thing that I had dreamed of for years was pulled out from under me, right as I neared the starting line of my next chapter. But in that sadness, I was offered the promise that I'd one day redefine what it meant to me. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.